It started with a desperate race. Oil crises were crushing automakers, and fans craved the wild speed of turbocharged Porsches and Saabs. Suddenly, turbo was not just for engines, it promised more power in everything from toy cars to software. But why did one mechanical fix become the symbol of the 1980s for all things modern and fast? The answer lies deeper than marketing hype. In October 1973, oil tankers sat idle as the world's largest producers cut supply almost overnight. The price of crude quadrupled in a matter of months, leaving gas stations with long lines and empty pumps. By 1979, a second crisis sent fuel costs soaring again. Carmakers faced a new reality. Engines had to deliver more power while burning less fuel. Traditional V8s were suddenly out of fashion, their thirst for gasoline at odds with both government mandates and driver anxiety. Engineers responded by dusting off a technology first used in aircraft and heavy trucks, the turbocharger. Forced induction, once a niche solution for racing or diesel engines, became the key to squeezing extra horsepower from smaller, more efficient motors. In 1975, Porsche unveiled the Porsche 930 Turbo, a 3-liter flat-six that stunned reviewers with its explosive acceleration. By 1978, an intercooler boosted output to 300 horsepower while meeting stricter emissions rules. Saab followed with the Saab 900 Turbo, proving that a family car could offer brisk performance without sacrificing economy. These breakthroughs were not just technical marvels. They were survival tactics in a world where every drop of fuel mattered. Turbo motorsport turned turbocharging into a spectacle. In 1977, Renault's turbocharged Formula One car, nicknamed the Yellow Teapot for its frequent plumes of smoke, shocked fans with its raw speed. By 1983, turbo engines dominated the Formula One championship, with BMW's 1.5-liter four-cylinder producing over 800 horsepower. Group B rally cars, like the Audi Quattro S1, made headlines for both their power and their danger, while Porsche's 956 and 962 swept endurance races with turbocharged reliability. Television broadcasts captured the drama, engines spooling, wastegates hissing, and drivers wrestling with sudden surges of boost. These images burned turbo into the public imagination as the ultimate symbol of speed and modernity. By the early 1980s, a wave of optimism swept across consumer culture. Economic recovery, deregulation, and the rise of personal technology fueled a hunger for performance. Americans snapped up turbocharged Buicks and Dodges. Europeans flocked to Saab and Porsche showrooms. Magazines and television ads promised that turbo would deliver the thrill of the racetrack to the daily commute. In this era, turbo became more than a technical fix. It was shorthand for progress, power, and the promise of something better, whether under the hood or on the store shelf. A turbocharger begins with a rush of exhaust gas, spinning a small turbine at speeds that can top 100,000 revolutions per minute. That turbine shares a shaft with a compressor, which draws in and squeezes fresh air before forcing it into the engine's cylinders. More air means more oxygen, and with extra fuel, the result is a dramatic surge in power from a relatively small engine. The secret to managing this power lies in a simple but crucial device, the wastegate. When boost pressure climbs too high, the wastegate opens and diverts exhaust around the turbine, keeping everything within safe limits, but compressed air heats up fast, so an intercooler sits between the turbo and the engine, cooling the charge to prevent engine knock and increase efficiency. The Porsche 930 Turbo turned these principles into a legend. Its 3.3-liter flat-six, introduced in 1978, relied on a large KKK turbocharger and a low compression ratio, just 7.0 to 1, to handle up to 0.8 bar of boost. The intercooler perched under the iconic whale tail spoiler, let Porsche push output to 300 horsepower. But there was a catch. The big turbo took time to spool up, creating a delay known as turbo lag. Below 3,000 revolutions per minute, the engine felt tame. Above that threshold, boost arrived in a sudden wave, launching the car forward with little warning. Drivers had to respect the surge, lift off the throttle mid-corner, and the rear end could snap around without mercy. Period reviewers called it the Widowmaker, for a reason. Saab took a different path with the 900 turbo. Its 2.0-liter inline-4 used a smaller Garrett turbo and a higher compression ratio, aiming for usable power rather than headline numbers. The real breakthrough was the Automatic Performance Control System, known as APC. An electronic sensor listened for engine knock, adjusting the wastegate via a solenoid to maximize boost safely on any grade of fuel. The result was 160 to 185 horsepower, with torque arriving early and smoothly. Turbo lag was less pronounced, and the power delivery felt more civilized, ideal for daily driving in all weather. Saab's air-to-air intercooler kept intake temperatures in check, protecting the engine and making the boost reliable. Where the Porsche 930 chased top-end glory with brute force and a raw, mechanical wastegate, the Saab 900 Turbo delivered a more democratic kind of performance, blending technology and practicality. Both cars used the same basic ingredients: turbine, compressor, wastegate, and intercooler, but the recipes could not have been more different. The mechanical drama of the 930 and the measured confidence of the Saab defined what turbo could mean on the road, laying the groundwork for its leap from pure engineering into the wider world of marketing and culture. Tyco's Turbo Hopper arrived in 1986, landing in toy aisles with a promise of speed and attitude that felt straight out of a Group B rally. The name alone, Turbo Hopper, hinted at something more than just a plastic car. This radio-controlled buggy, at the push of a lever labeled Turbo, would lurch forward with a burst of extra speed. Tyco's marketing team leaned hard into the era's obsession, splashing slanted chrome logos across the box and filling TV spots with dust clouds, banjo riffs, and the kind of slow-motion jumps that made every living room carpet look like a desert rally. Kids did not need to know the difference between a real turbocharger and a speed switch, because the word itself was enough. Turbo meant excitement, and Tyco made sure every commercial hammered that home. The trick was simple. The transmitter featured a notched lever. Push it past the click, and the car's electric motor received a surge of current, delivering a brief top-speed run. There was no turbine, no compressor, just a clever bit of branding and a circuit that made the car feel special. But for a generation of kids, that turbo mode was magic. A shortcut to victory in driveway races and bragging rights on the playground. Household appliances were not immune either. By the mid-1980s, vacuum cleaners started sporting turbo labels for their air-driven brush heads. These turbo brushes spun faster thanks to airflow, agitating carpet fibers more aggressively than plain suction. The mechanism was real, a small turbine inside the nozzle powered only by the whoosh of air. Advertisers promised turbocharged cleaning, even if the only boost came from clever engineering and a bit of marketing flair. For vacuums at least, turbo meant a genuine mechanical upgrade, though the leap from Le Mans to living room was mostly in the name. Borland's Turbo Pascal exploded onto the software scene in 1983, packaged in a box that looked like it belonged in a showroom, not a computer store. The logo leaned forward in metallic italics, streaked with speed lines, promising programmers the same kind of acceleration that car ads promised drivers. The product's claim was simple: blazing speed. On early IBM personal computers, Turbo Pascal could compile code in seconds, while rivals took minutes. The entire program fit on a single floppy disk, yet delivered an integrated editor and compiler that let developers write, test, and run programs in a single, seamless flow. For $49.95, Borland offered a tool that was not only 10 times faster than the competition, but 10 times cheaper too. The word turbo had left the garage behind. Now it raced across the covers of Byte magazine, leaping from mufflers to motherboards. The box art echoed the era's turbocharged cars, chrome, slanted fonts, and a whoosh of implied motion. Even the advertising soundtrack kept pace, pairing synth stabs with the hiss of digital air. The message was everywhere. Turbo meant the fastest path from idea to result. Whether you were coding a program or vacuuming your living room, by the mid-1980s, turbo had become a visual and sonic shorthand for modernity. Toys, vacuums, and software all adopted the same language. Chrome stripes, italicized logos, and the promise of speed at the push of a button. The motif repeated like a chorus: slanted box art, speed stripes curling around plastic shells, a synthetic whoosh in every commercial. The word itself no longer needed a real turbine. It became a symbol floating above the decade, ready to be stamped onto anything that wanted to feel fast. Turbo is still shorthand for speed, on screens, in stores, and in our language. The real power isn't in hardware, but in how a word can fuel entire eras of ambition. Every generation finds its own turbo. The question is, what gets supercharged next? Let me know your thoughts below.